bridge collapsed. The mountain road washed out. All the signs are obscured by fog. Your only directions are detours. Eventually it dawns on you. Sometimes you need to get lost to discover where you're supposed to be. Welcome to Merlin's Barn.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Merlin's Barn, broadcasting to you from Fort Blanket, south of the Yukon. And tonight you have myself, Merlin, Tasha, Nicole, waving from the balcony. Hello. We have Matt.
Hello.
And tonight we're going to be interviewing Hot Todd Lincoln.
No, wait.
What?
Sorry, he's stuck on a tarmac in Madison, Wisconsin. His Piedmont Airlines flight's been delayed.
Piedmont's such a problem. I wouldn't fly them anymore if I were him.
Yeah, I've tried to warn him, but
gosh darn it.
It was that or Spirit, so.
Oh.
I think I'll go with Piedmont, or maybe one of those airlines still flying the DC-3s or something like that.
Is the Yukon one that's up there?
Yeah, the one that's like up in the Yukon that's supposedly still flying them. We got Tasha and I watched a little bit of that show because my dad, I think it's called, was it Arctic Air?
Yeah, Arctic Air and Yellowknife, Canada.
Yeah, it was out of Yellowknife or on the show. Yeah, so it was, it's okay, but the writers get really confused and go in a bunch of different directions. We finally gave up because we're like, you don't know what you're doing. You have a possibility here.
Drama.
A lot of weird drama. There's a lot of guns involved for an airline.
No one's
doing their TSA checks.
Nobody's doing anything they're supposed to be doing, as far as I could tell. And then the green screen got bad, and I think
that was awful.
Yeah, there was awful green.
Were like arms coming through it, like the bad weather.
No, it was just like they had them all land somewhere at a defunct facility, and you could tell so many times that the facility itself was green screen just because the way they're moving and the way. God, no! This
is oddly two-dimensional.
Yeah, this is oddly not supposed to look like this.
The scenery.
Well, happily, despite the loss of Hot Todd to Piedmont Airlines in Madison, Wisconsin, at least he's not stuck in South Bend.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoys that.
Does any airline fly to South Bend? Because, I mean...
Do they have an airport?
I don't know.
Why would anybody fly there?
The Studebaker Electric Fountain, of course.
Yes. Why are you flying here? Well, the Larry at the Tourism Bureau, who is permanently drunk, suggested that we go see the Studebaker Electric Fountain. Not that like college with the football team or anything like that happens to be nearby.
What's a sport?
What?
Sport?
Sports ball.
Huh?
Throwing the puck through the hoop.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Woo!
All right.
As bizarre as a fountain is, we actually have an interesting topic tonight. We're going to cover
more bizarre than the fountain.
Long distance wheelbarrow racing. My best description is that it's when ultra marathoners were crossbred with carnies.
You know, when we were reviewing this earlier,
That's iconic.
And we're talking about one of the things we're going to get into this. All I could think of was this the birth of carnies?
There's a lot of carny is going to come through in this episode. So I'll start it out in first person singular, and we'll get to first person plural as the research progresses. I first encountered this sport, pastime, spectacle, sideshow, whatever you might call it, of wheelbarrow racing when we were researching Felix Carvajal. That's episode 13, Dead Man Running, who in 1928 was planning a San Francisco to New York run pushing a handcart. And although this adventure did not come to fruition, at the time I didn't give any more thought to wheelbarrow long-distance excursions. Then I was reading The Rise and Fall of the Sideshow Geek by Nathan Wakefield. That's an excellent book that I highly recommend. It's a fascinating topic. Nathan describes a performer in Sacramento with a storied past and quite varied sideshow-esque career by the name of Oopty Goofty, who began a similar stunt in 1886 on a wager that he was going to push a wheelbarrow from San Francisco to New York.
What was that name?
Goofty.
Goofty.
Do we have like an origin story on the name at all? Goofty.
I'd have to go back into Nathan Wakefield's book again.
Oh, no.
Oofty Goofty was definitely like his stage persona, stage name.
Or he got hit on the head.
I don't recall. Like his given name. But in 1886, on a wager, he was going to push a wheelbarrow from San Francisco to New York. But only 40 miles into the journey, he startled a group of farmers who knocked him from a bridge in the darkness. At which point, he sold the wheelbarrow and returned to Sacramento.
I think it says something about the era
Yes.
when... Oh,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question that I just realized I had. That can be edited out if that needs to happen. Is this the same Nathan as Nathan McScary?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
I was wondering.
Yes. Yep. For those in the inner circle, this is a Nathan we actually know.
Cool. But I'm back on this. I was
Juggled
just...
knives, amongst other things.
Yeah.
I think it says something about the era that people were startled by a man with a wheelbarrow. I mean,
In
what is
the
this, like
dark on
those
a bridge.
fainting goats or something like that? Oh, a carrot. Ah!
So yeah, amazing. Yeah, I don't know. 1880s, people pushing wheelbarrows was not.
Guy with a
quite
wheelbarrow
common.
out at night. Something's wrong.
Get your guns, Marge.
Call the coppers.
So, but why does this keep happening? I mean, this is the second historical attempt I came upon of transcontinental wheelbarrow pushing. Why? So, we do here at Maryland's Barn, we research. And we learned that the first to do this was Lyman Potter, a Civil War veteran who covered the U.S. in 1878.
Because it was a good idea.
But before we get to Lyman Potter, let's back up to why people were pushing wheelbarrow, or let's back up to just walking. Let's start with long distance and exhibition walking.
The invention of walking, or do we need the invention of the wheel to get to where we are right now?
Or the invention of the wheel will come up later.
Oh, good lord.
I think walking, we have to go back to the first person who was like dragging themselves along the ground going, ow, this hurts. Oh, wait, I have legs.
We didn't go that far back. We just sort of skipped to the part where people decided to start doing long distance and exhibition walking.
Like
Walking is a performative art, is where we kind of jumped in at.
Yeah.
Which,
Performative art.
yes, it was a thing. Partly because humans have always wanted to learn their limits, and partly because we could bet on it. Possibly,
Oh, there was money to be made.
A gambling
Oh, yes.
addiction. Started early.
there's going to be a lot of money to be made coming up soon here.
By the spectators, not the participants.
A little from the participants and a lot from the spectators.
Oh,
Yeah. Possibly the earliest long distance walk for the sake of walking and not to actually get anywhere occurred in 1773 when Foster Powell did a 50-mile journey on the Bath Road in England. This is recorded in the book The Great North Road, London to York by Charles G. Harper. Along with further exploits, I'll quote here. It was in 1773 that he performed his first walk from London to York and back, doing the 400 miles in 5 days and 18 hours. This was followed by a walk of 100 miles out and home on the Bath Road, done in 23 hours and a quarter.
Less than a day. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, it's 100 miles. That's basically, that's what, 4 marathons in a row.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like us walking to work. No. Yeah, walking to work and back.
Of course, marathon takes us further back, but that's just Greek mythology and battles, and we're going to stick where we are because,
we're
guys, this is like a 3-day-long episode, so you're in for the long
Technology
haul.
Deep dive for the week
Give up
already.
on your timing on your treadmill.
We
You're with
already hit
us.
upon marathons in the Felix Carvajal episode.
Oh, you're right.
so
Yeah.
Go back to episode 13 for your marathon origin story.
Yes.
Atlas Obscura comes in to help us understand with a great article by Linda Rodriguez McRoby titled How Competitive Walking Captivated Georgian Britain. In September 1815, George Wilson set out to walk 1,000 miles on a circuit around Blackheath Common for a prize of £1,000. So, a good bit of money. He didn't complete it, though. 2 weeks and 751 miles into his attempt, he was arrested for disturbing the peace. George wasn't directly disturbing the peace. It was who and what was drawn to Blackheath Common that was a concern for authorities. To quote from McRoby's article, by the day of his arrest, he had walked an astounding 751.25 miles around Blackheath, while according to a contemporary report, the crowds had grown to thousands and tens of thousands of idle and disorderly persons.
Once again, this speaks so much about the entertainment of the era.
Victorian pastimes, watching people walk.
What are you doing? I'm watching somebody walk. Leave me alone!
I don't think it was the watching was the problem. Ignoring the contradictory of idle and disorderly.
I
You
can
could be
sit.
standing around and cursing. That happens.
I was going to say, I can sit still and shout all I want.
Exactly.
Okay. All right then, I'll take that. Okay, that doesn't seem to be cause enough to to arrest George for disturbing the peace. So what else was going on? The quote from the article: "So many mouths required an adequate provision of beer and spirits." This is where things start to go around the bend here. Booths were erected, and the heath wore the appearance of an extensive fair, wrote a lawyer who analyzed Wilson's arrest and a month after. The heath was alive with acrobats and rope walkers, fire eaters and ballad singers, dog fights and pony races. Brothels were brought in from London to the spot, and drunkenness and debauchery were rife upon every part of Blackheath.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
At night, the neighborhood was assailed by shouts of intoxication, and the families in the vicinity disturbed by every species of riot and confusion.
I'm just sort of in awe,
I
honestly.
didn't catch quite how long this went on. Like how many days went by to go to 751 miles that resulted in them having time to set up pony races and brothels. But I mean, that's quite the party is going on in the common.
That has to be quite extensive when they've brought in the brothels and the tents and holy crow. Wow.
So that's probably why the police showed up. I mean, not that there wasn't like violence or gambling, right? Oh, nope, there it is. Bookmakers were doing a brisk business in bets. But after seeing Wilson easily put down 50 miles a day and more, those who had bet against him now tried to stop him. Though Wilson was himself quiet, inoffensive, and unassuming, and only 5'4" and 121 pounds, he had protectors armed with 10-foot staves, bludgeons, and in one case a bayonet, sweeping the path in front of him. Local authorities were understandably nervous. The riotous carnival atmosphere was ripe for insurrection and violence.
I could see that quickly heading towards one little thing burning whatever villages they're down.
Yeah. So on the topic of how much is a lot of money, the article doesn't say how much money was at stake in wagers for or against Wilson, but another long-distance pedestrian of the period, George Barclay, bet 1,000 pounds on himself to walk 1,000 miles in 1,000 hours on Newmarket Heath near Cambridge. While this sum in 1809 was astonishingly high, it pales in comparison to the total invested in wagers by the spectators.
That's an insane amount of money for 1809.
And that's small potatoes, actually. So that was the wager for him.
Mm-hmm.
As Professor Peter Radford writes in his book, The Celebrated Captain Barclay, side bets pushed Barclay's take up to 16,000 pounds. Roughly 320 years of income for most of the people cheering for him.
I'm looking up inflation from 1809 to now.
Oh, it's coming. The total amount of
got
bets
it?
made by spectators on Barclay's walk, the Times reported at the time, come to 100,000 pounds, or about 7.5 million pounds in today's money.
For walking!
So that's the total number of bets on the walk.
Wow.
But still, like his portion of that was like, let's see, 100,000 divided by 16, or 100 divided by 16. So
I'm not math good.
yeah, a lot. Like his portion was still good. Like it probably be in the millions.
That's insane.
Publicans, that is those who own or run pubs, didn't miss out on this opportunity and organized events and competitions as a way to sell food, beer, and bets. Over the United States, long-distance walks between cities and long distances in many circles on a track were quite popular. And not just men, pedestrianism was a popular sport among women.
At a time when sport was for men, because women were considered frail, even walking was met with resistance. In 1864, Emma Sharp was on the grounds of the Quarry Gap Hotel at
Lasterdyke?
Lasterdyke.
It's probably something completely opposite of how we pronounced it, but I think we'll just go with it.
Lasterdyke was the other one that I could figure.
Okay.
We apologize to 1860s British for mispronouncing the name of the city.
Oh, if it's
there anyone
if it's
around?
British, then it's probably pronounced Worcester then, or something like that.
Right.
No,
And it's from the 18...
no, thank you.
And it was in 1864, so apologies to anyone who was there and we messed up the name.
You're like that one vampire we've got listening, or something like that.
We're Gettysburg, what do you expect? I know.
If we do have a vampire listening, thank you.
In 1864, Emma Sharp, on the grounds of the Quarry Gap Hotel at Leicesterdykes, England, walked 1,000 miles in 1,000 hours by walking 30-minute intervals with rest and naps in between. So, some fun notes here. Firstly, this is called the Barclay Challenge at this point, and she is the first woman, I believe, to have taken this on.
Oh, cool.
So, Mr. Captain Barclay basically set a standard, and people are now trying to meet or beat it. I wanted to interject some notes, kind of in the fashion history aspect of things, because it's one of the weird things that I always delve into. So, we are at a point in time where pants were scandalous, even being called inexpressibles if worn by a woman. So, Emma Sharp wore a men's suit for her walk, which was, at this point in time, an arrestable offense, technically, in most places. Her suit was white with red polka dots. I think it was quite charming, and she wore a hat with some flowers on top to offset the masculine suit. There were...
She was very fashion forward for 1864.
beyond.
You have to be fashionable to walk.
You gotta wear pants
I mean,
to make it comfy.
Polka dots,
And a hat.
floral hat. I mean, she was... I mean,
It was a look.
Yeah.
And she had a walking stick. Apparently that might still exist.
Really?
Yes, her walking stick might still be around from one of the things I read.
It's probably hanging out with that bust of Lenin in Antarctica.
There were dedicated women's sports clothing during this time period, but because so few women were participating in more intense sports or physically taxing sports, usually they would just end up wearing their typical Victorian day dress, maybe losing a petticoat or two. But I found this absolutely fantastic quote from, I believe it was wadac.org.uk, talking about Emma Sharp's husband. His embarrassment was such that he was unable to join the crowd who came to witness his wife scandalize polite Victorian society. That is just such a sentence.
He just like slunked off to the pub.
Pretty much.
At the same time, you could be sitting there going, I'm drinking and nobody's bothering me.
Or he could have been very wonderful and out the crowd going, "That's my wife!"
Yeah. And I wasn't saying essentially like she wasn't bothering him. I was like, he just went and found a pub because nobody was there because they're out watching her walk.
This is fair. But I think it'd be really cool if he was out there supporting her. But,
That would be
Victorians are very angry.
That would be an improvement.
It
If he
would.
was smart, he would have been betting on it.
Yo.
I think we're definitively on him not being smart.
Yeah, seems that way. Like, because he could have played it so he would never have to work again. Like,
Literally. All right.
It's a whole side quest now.
So back to the main thing and not the fun polka dot suit, though quite dashing. So her attempt took 6 weeks, and over the course of the event drew total crowds of over 100,000 supporters and critics. Just as with George Wilson, those betting against Sharp went to extreme measures to try and stop her. But they were so much worse because she was a frail little woman doing men's things. An article from todayifoundout.com described the scene in her final week of the challenge. With the odds heavily against her at first, as the days wore on, it began to look like she might actually do it. Malicious attempts to thwart her progress began. Beyond near constant jeering to break her spirit, about a week before she was scheduled to finish the 1,000 miles, unidentified individuals attacked her with chloroform. Yes, chloroform. To rough her up a bit, hoping this would inspire her to quit. But she didn't.
so like Looney Tunes cartoon kidnapping style?
Yes, that is all I
this
can
is
see.
Acme level stuff.
It really, really is. Others threw burning embers in her path. Some tried to drug her food, and still others simply resorted to trying to trip her at random times. As things escalated, for her protection, 18 police officers disguised as working citizens were assigned to her on the final days of the race. In addition to that, during the night, a helpful citizen walked in front of her with a loaded rifle, and Emma also walked the final 2 days with a pistol, which she had to fire in warning at least 27 times to ward off unruly spectators. That's insane.
Wow.
Just because you want to walk.
Literally.
Yeah.
And
We're not saying people are bright. I mean,
no, they're not.
We can always go back to that Men in Black moment, which comes up so often, where Tommy Lee Jones is telling Will Smith, a person is intelligent and people as a group are dumb, panicky animals. And then they do stupid things like annoy people walking.
The chloroform is what's getting me. It's the chloroform more than anything else. Like, Jesus Christ.
The one that got me was that she actually had to, for 2 days, carry a pistol, and 27 times. That means like an average of once every couple of hours having to fire the thing.
I mean, that's a warning shot, though. I feel like that's more reasonable than, I don't know, someone coming up and forcing chloroform in your face. Or putting poison in your food.
Well, we're not saying she's being unreasonable. She's doing that to keep them from doing that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
UltraRunning.com offers some more insight into 1870s American pedestrianism. In 1868, Anne Fitzgibbons Matamore, a clog dancer from England, exported women pedestrianism to America. She began putting on 50-mile walking expeditions in upstate New York wearing male attire, once again those inexpressibles, during her walk for which she was arrested. She went on to be the first woman to walk 100 miles in less than 24 hours. Although many of these expeditions were outdoors, indoor events were popular beginning in 1875 when Melola, a gymnast and trapeze performer, walked 30 miles against a man in P.T. Barnum's New York City Hippodrome. With the 6-day race format already popular with men, it was only natural that next it would be taken on by women. This format isn't for speed in the convention that we think of now, but rather the distance covered in the fixed time. The winner is the person who walked more than the others and achieved the most miles. Makes sense?
Yeah.
In 1876, preparations began for such a race in Chicago exclusively comprised of women racers. Primarily, a race between two women held in the 2nd Regiment Armory Building at the end of January. Racing was done on a sawdust oval track with 10 laps equaling a mile. The race was between Bertha von Herlern and Mary Marshall.
Bertha has to have been wearing a pickle hub.
Almost.
That's just what I'm picturing. Oh my God, it goes. Keep going.
Oh, what a woman. A German immigrant and a Canadian. Wow.
Well, I wrote that badly. Bertha was a German immigrant. Mary Marshall's Canadian.
Still, this is a beautiful mix.
They don't present her as Canadian, though.
A German immigrant against a Canadian. But that didn't stop the racers themselves and the promoters from presenting the competition as German versus American. Oh no. Poor Canada.
Sorry, Canada.
The ladies wearing red, black, and yellow, and red, white, and blue, playing, respectively. Due to a cold snap, one-day public attendance was light as only 1,800 persons. The ladies wearing red, black, and yellow, and red, white, and blue, respectively. Due to a cold snap, the day one public attendance was light as only 1,800 persons, paying the quarter entrance fee. But by the last days, the building was filled with over 3,000 spectators. Day 2 and 3 of the race were joined briefly by Millie Rose, another pedestrian who had previously walked 500 miles in 500 hours, and is described as the sideshow pedestrian, although only a month later she began fully competing in 6-day races. In only a few years, the sport exploded, and by 1879, a race in New York had 18 women starting and running was not now allowed, although only 5 completed all 6 days. The reaction in the papers was scathing. Here are but a couple examples. Help is needed for pedestrians of the weaker sex who will do whatever they choose and will imitate men in everything that offers remuneration. Or, women are not physically organized for a 6 days tramp, and it is a shame to allow her to abuse herself. Another writer suggested the race would only be worthwhile if there was a husband at the end waiting for the winner.
What the hell?
But we know that 6-day races, marathons, ultramarathons, and long-distance running and walking all continued for both men, women, and others, and still do to this day. Now we turn our studies to much shorter races, and one of humankind's most basic inventions.
I'll interject real quick. I should have explained this a little
Go
further.
for it.
The 6-day race at the time was a bit like an Ironman sort of race is now.
Okay.
Or like a Tough Mudder sort of race. Mm-hmm. That's 6 24-hour days.
That's
Non-stop.
insane.
Yeah, they would catch like some of those 6-day races. They would catch naps when they can and just walk as much as possible.
I'd like notes on
which
how
is
much.
which is why like of the 18 women that started, only 5 even completed it. And of those 5, like some had like serious injuries, even like nearly broken ankles, limping across the finish line, because they were brutal races, like for the men too. Like
I'm just figuring they were hallucinating by the end of it too. That amount of lack of sleep. God only knows what they thought they were by the end.
yeah, so it's a
That's insane.
yeah, it was a real yeah. I say it's kind of comparable. I would say more like an Iron Man or a Tough Mudder, like a much more hardcore sort of race, even if it was only walking, not running, just to do
Still,
6 days.
absolutely, that's still absolutely nuts. All right. We are going to roll into the invention of an absolutely amazing thing. The wheelbarrow. The briefest of histories. The wheel was invented.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The end. Okay.
There, we're done.
Cool.
Okay, good.
Good
Have a
night.
good night, folks. This was nice talking to you all. We will be back again next week. Should you have any stories about wheelbarrow? Oh, wait, no, back to this. Somebody then had the idea to fix 2 handles and 2 feet to one wheel. This happened both in China and the Roman empires a couple of thousand years ago. The wheelbarrow shape, as we know it, came about in medieval Europe. Yeah, you're right. Now I've got the bring out your dad. I'm not quite dead yet. I'm feeling much better.
Not inaccurate.
No, there you go.
At least not the wheelbarrow presentation.
Maybe it was the plague that brought about the wheelbarrow.
Oh.
No, probably not. The evolution and changes from what we know now are subtle and of little consequence to the story. So imagine a wheelbarrow. Make it a bit boxier than your garden variety with vertical wooden sides. Maybe a lid. Got it? Great. And here's a picture for Tasha. Can't see it? Of course, this is a podcast. If you could see it, this would be a YouTube channel, which we also have. But because we're a podcast, it's just the sound.
Can I
So-
give a side note?
Let me finish. So we will try to remember to put a picture on this post. We will definitely have pictures of these wheelbarrows and the related individuals on the Instagram. Yes.
Picture for me because I can't see things in my brain space.
Yes, what is
Fun
it?
fact: aphantasia.
Aphantasia.
It's called aphantasia.
So, yes, we need
My name's
photographs.
literally in it.
Which is not a Disney movie.
Yes.
No, though I am named after that princess as well, Anastasia.
Oh my God! Now I'm picturing
Anastasia of aphantasia.
a Disney movie about a artist who can't picture things.
Hi,
singing,
it's me.
Yeah, singing is called Aphantasia with all the musical bits and stuff like that.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Swirling with their watercolors, unable to picture anything, just scattering color all over the surround. Okay, I'm going back to this. Back to
I've got a
wheelbarrow.
Described me.
We got some videos to go film out in the field now. Just Tasha just like spinning with like paintbrushes
The
and
hills
buckets of
are
paint.
alive with the sound of I can't picture anything. All
If
right.
you like this idea, become a paid subscriber and we can do it.
Yes. Think of all the insanity. In fact, if you became a paid subscriber, we could also fund my my new sport of
Hummel punting?
Hummel punting. Yes, which we'll describe later, because this is going on. This is going to be like 3 days long as it is. So back to the wheelbarrow. We're talking about the one with vertical wooden sides, heavy wheel, maybe a lid. This is what Lyman Potter Oofty Goofty, and Felix Carvajal all pushed. Now back to the question of why? Well, not yet. First, the most common form of wheelbarrow racing documented.
And just appreciate that sentence. What other podcast has a sentence, the most common form of wheelbarrow racing documented?
I think there's that wheelbarrow podcast. It's the two guys who just like go around the world analyzing wheelbarrows. No. I think we're it. I think
We have more subscribers than they do.
yeah, we've got the
boy.
they have one, and then they got a flat tire, and that guy stopped listening.
Oh no!
It's really sad. I felt bad for them.
I feel bad for them, and they don't even exist.
Did you hear that, folks? We were throwing shade at fake podcasts.
All right. So, fair games. So the first wheelbarrow races were not long-distance endurance affairs, but rather a form of fair amusement. As documented by Joseph Strutt in Sport and Pastimes of the People of England, first published in 1801 but later updated, the 1845 edition, Book 4, Chapter 3, Paragraph 31, Fairs, describes the spectacle as such. The wheelbarrow race requires room and is performed upon some open field or in a field free from encumbrances. The candidates are all of them blindfolded, and every one has his wheelbarrow, which he is to drive from the starting place to a mark set up for that purpose at some considerable distance. He who first reaches the mark, of course, is the conqueror, but this task is seldom very readily accomplished. On the contrary, the windings and wanderings of these droll knights-errant in most cases produce much merriment. That was beautiful.
So basically, we're watching fools run into each other with wheelbarrows.
Yes, it's like demolition derbies, but less dangerous.
Are you sure about that?
Wheelbarrow derbies.
Is anybody else picturing them running into livestock?
Just you wait. Just you wait.
Oh no.
The earliest reference we were able to find in digitized newspaper archives is to some festive wheelbarrow racing following horse racing and preceding sack jumping in the village of Parramatta, nearby to Sydney, Australia in 1810.
Yosses.
Bruce! In 1814, reports in the Leicester Chronicle of another blindfolded race during a festival in Forbridge paint a picture of chaos and destruction, with only 3 contenders managing to upset half a dozen tea tables, knock down a score of children, break shins of 3 ladies, and going amongst the band also broke 3 fiddles.
Not the fiddles!
And for the next few decades across England, the wheelbarrow could be found in racing circles along with the blindfold and the gunny sack. By the early 1840s, articles from several U.S. states indicated that the event had spread to this side of the pond. Injuries and mayhem were the norm, but these blindfolded frolics in the park between sledge throwing and gunny sack hops are as related to the treks of Lyman Potter and the like as Matt's Honda Fit is to the Paris-Dakar rally truck. If you don't know what the Paris-Dakar rally truck is, look it up. It's worth it. So how do we get from boyish games to ultramarathoners? No, really, that isn't a rhetorical question. We are still trying to make a connection. We'll get there, I promise you. Hang on by those fingernails, folks. It's worth it. Oh, and as an aside, if you don't like the current state of the fair, if you feel it's nothing but carnival rides, the biggest pumpkin, and someone selling hot tubs or gutter guards, you aren't alone. Joseph Strutt, in 1801, didn't have much good to say about them then either. Quote, "The church ales have long been discontinued. The wakes are still kept up in the northern parts of the kingdom, but neither they nor the fairs maintain their former importance. Many of both and most of the latter have dwindled into mere markets for petty traffic, or else they are confined to the purposes of drinking or the displayment of vulgar pastimes.
Oh no.
These pastimes, or at least such of them as occur to my memory, I shall mention here in a cursory manner and pass on the remaining form of this chapter." See? People haven't liked the fair for 200 years.
Right there. 200 years ago, people were complaining then too.
Thus, we shall improve it with wheelbarrows. Wheelbarrows make everything better. They do, really, believe me.
Now, spectacles and wagers. Because, once again, betting and carnies. Newspapers in 1847 reported on some peculiar activities in upstate New York. Somehow bored with racing horses, some horsemen took to wagers on unique modes of human transport.
It's okay, Nicole. Wait, folks, Nicole's having a bit of a moment because of the horses.
Like I said, they were somehow. I don't know.
I don't know how you can be bored with horses.
It's okay.
That's okay because their solution was great. They just have a guy pull the buggy instead.
Do the horses get to watch that?
They may have. There was a $25 bet on a 6-mile buggy pulled by an individual from Mount Morris to Genesee and back in 6 hours, which he accomplished handily. So next, a sulky was drawn halfway to Genesee and back for $8, but this time carrying a man for the outbound journey. You know the horses were watching this time.
See how I feel.
They probably got beer too.
Yeah. That man had to pay $5 for the ride. This was also accomplished. Now we get back to wheelbarrows though, because next the man wagered he could push a wheelbarrow 1 mile out and back, and that after starting would not move his arms more than 3 inches forward or back. It's very stiff-armed wheelbarrow walking.
Extremely specific.
After winning the bet, he wagered $25 that he could do the same for 11 miles. I could not find any reports if anyone took him up on the final wager. Through the 1850s, reports continued to be of the English sports variety. Sacks, hurdles, blindfolds, soap-necked goose catching, greased pig chasing, donkey races, greased pole climbing, the caber toss, and so on.
Oh, I love tossing cabers.
The soap-neck goose is new.
Well,
That's
no,
what
it's
I
actually
thought.
old. This is from the 1800s.
New to me. New to me.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't chase down the details of the soap-necked goose chasing. I assumed it was similar to the greased pig or soaped pig.
That's what I would assume, but also, those soaps that have a little, lanyard?
Oh, just the
That's
soap
what
on
I
a
was
rope
thinking.
hanging around the goose's neck.
That's what I was thinking.
Don't approve. Soap on a rope.
Either that or it's kind of
Soap
like...
on a goose.
Or it's like the greased pig chasing, except with consequences, because geese.
They got teeth.
they're going to come back at you like
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not
much
messing.
more violent game than the other ones.
I am not messing with the geese at all.
But those aren't wheelbarrows. So we even found a report on on slowest mule races.
It's like the slow Jeep races we do at the Jeep show.
And this must have been really interesting because where each man could not ride his own mule.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
That must have made the race really slow.
And the mule's really
They're all
angry.
just sitting
think about
there,
the bucking.
not moving at all for weeks on end.
I suspect the mules just planted all 4 feet and just did not move.
So basically, the one that did move, that's the guy who lost because he wasn't the slowest mule anymore. The popularity of these fair games also spread to Canada as well. Often these races were held blindfolded, while others were without but carrying a jockey in a wheelbarrow. Others had a specific weight of 50 pounds to be carried in the wheelbarrow. But still, these were not the exhibitions of which we wanted to be discussing tonight. We're still on the we're still on the asides, folks. We haven't gotten to what we're trying to get to. I know, we're the longest episode yet, and we're still not actually to the topic, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're just about 39 minutes now. We're doing okay. There's only 20 pages left. No, we're fine.
We're getting there though. It's getting closer because in 1857, and again in New England, what's with New Englanders?
It's a great question.
This time,
Stop kicking me. It's not my fault.
This time, Greenfield, Massachusetts. Fun fact: Penn Jillette's hometown. There was a report of a wheelbarrow race with a prize of $8. Details are scant, but it appears to be independent of any other festivities and was merely a bit of entertainment for the town. Usually these things fell into with some sort of fair or festival or Sunday horse races, and this one was like
Every now and then you just got to have a wandering wheelbarrow on its own.
just had to have a wheelbarrow race just because. Distance was not mentioned, but the winner was William Colburn. Also, it should be noted, it was noted in the papers that New England celebrity Major Benjamin Purley Poor was not in attendance, as he was on a visit to the West.
Purley Poor.
Yes,
That is a name.
that's a name. Yes, it is. Poor was a journalist, politician, and military officer, and seems to have been an early adopter of wheelbarrow competitions. For in 1856, he lost a wager that Millard Fillmore would take Massachusetts in a presidential election. He rolled a wheelbarrow of apples 36 miles from West Newbury to Boston. The 2.5-day trek culminated in Poor being escorted up State Street about 2 o'clock by the Fillmore Club of Boston and Charlestown, a military company, and a mounted cavalcade of citizens. The novelty of the performance collected many thousands of people.
That's amazing.
Not only did Millard Fillmore not beat John Fremont, but Fremont also lost to James Buchanan. No wonder Poor's absence from the Greenfield race was highlighted in the accounts at the time. He was our most famous wheelbarrow pusher at the time for having doubly lost his bet. We're warming up, though. In 1861, a grand picnic at Taylor's Grove, 7 miles south of Lafayette, Indiana, was held.
Not Indiana.
With a football game. No person under the age of 30 allowed to participate. A review of the Lafayette Zouaves and costumed exhibition wheelbarrow race between an Irishman, a Yankee, a German, and a Hoosier.
I'm guessing they were costumed as such.
Yes.
I
And
remember discussing this when you first found it and just going, no, it looks like they're actually costumed.
yes.
A Hoosier? Not a cabinet, right?
Right. No, I'm
That'd be great.
I'm pretty sure it was an Indiana native and not
Hoosier
not a
cabinet pushing this wheelbarrow down the field, flour going
What
everywhere.
is the fashionable distinction between these? I asked as the historical fashion person.
I don't know. It's a different era back then.
Well, you're talking about the Hoosier cabinet
Different color
pushing
hats?
wheelbarrow. I've watched Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
Fair point. Fair point.
Are we sure this wasn't an enchanted Hoosier?
Anything's possible in 1861 in Indiana.
And for the audience, for those of
with
you who
the
don't
red
know,
dress.
there's two different. Where the play on Hoosier is a term for people from Indiana, or it's a cabinet in your kitchen that you keep a whole pile of things in.
Which I think originated from Indiana.
Probably it would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So on through the years, we scoured the archives, searching out the earliest long-distance exhibitions. By 1871, we hadn't found it yet. But in January of that year, Milwaukee decided to put itself on the map when on the 20th of January, they hosted a concert and a wheelbarrow race on ice.
Ooh, wild.
Ice capades of wheelbarrows?
Yeah, on the skating rink, they had a wheelbarrow race.
This is
because
lovely.
It's,
Do you think Michaela would let us do that?
I do not think that the rink would let us take a wheelbarrow out. No.
I think Michaela would find it hilarious.
I think Michaela would probably get fired from the rink.
Oh no.
cannot imagine how
problem.
badly that must have gone for the participants.
I'm just picturing, were you wearing skates while doing that?
I forgot a pair of the skates they'd be wearing upstairs. It ain't much there.
Yeah.
Were they also blindfolded?
I don't blindfolded skating wheelbarrow racing.
ice.
Somebody's going to lose an artery.
And you have a broken ankle. And you have a broken ankle.
And you
This,
have a
this
gash.
ended with coffins. Like it's,
And
you
you're
were
bleeding out.
decapitated.
It's worse than hockey.
But did anyone lose a kidney this time?
No. My dad was not involved.
And so by the late 1850s, the now decades-old bit of fair entertainment was slowly coming into its own as an exhibition. True, it was still mostly for fairs and picnics, but we do see the occasional special event, a long-distance wager, costumed or on ice races. The wheelbarrow is somehow still captivating the public.
And thus we move. Go ahead. Or did you say, is it?
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently it is, because we move on to Lyman Potter, King of Tramps.
Well, I would be more captivated if I was allowed to take it out onto my ice rink, you know?
Well, that's you just have to take that up with the York Ice Rink, and I'm gonna stay out of that one. I don't want to get kicked out and never be able to see my Zamboni running in circles
about to
again.
say.
My life would be devoid of meaning.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's the Zamboni and me and the Zamboni and my Tim Hortons.
I see where I sit. Okay.
I love you. All right, so Lyman Potter, King of Tramps. Not only was Lyman Potter the first instance we can find of a long-distance walk with a wheelbarrow, it's also the most documented. Potter was a Civil War veteran and widower at age 35. In 1875, he lost his wife. I don't know if they were in a department store and he didn't have like a wrist string or something like that, or did she die? Probably died.
She died.
Okay, she died.
I don't think we're quite at department stores at this
In
point.
1875, his wife died, and he was left to care for a 4-year-old and infant daughters. And although he had a live-in nanny housekeeper, he was not by any means well off. He had a suffering furniture business and would do odd jobs around town. Potter was described as being 5 foot 8 inches and weighing 137 pounds with a long, scraggly beard and curly brown hair. For his trek, he was dressed in a plain, cheap, though whole suit. in butternut brown, thick cowhide boots and a white felt broad-brimmed hat. Well, later his trek would become quite the spectacle, and Potter would take on a sideshow-esque persona. The journey began nearly in secret. This is the development of Potter into a carny, basically.
Yes, yeah. It seems to happen kind of quickly, though.
Yeah. $1,000 wager among friends that Potter could push a wheelbarrow from Albany, New York to San Francisco, California, led to him starting out on April 10th, 1878. But the first mention in any paper isn't until May 3rd, and that's not a kind description. A few paragraphs in the center column of page 8 of the Cleveland Laker, titled Transcontinental, beginning with the byline, "The reporter is skeptical and unkind. A man with a wheelbarrow. He sets off on a long tramp provided he isn't a fraud." The article is centered around an interview with an unnamed gentleman and goes on to say, "Mr. Potter, the gentleman adds, looks as though he needed the $1,000 and seems to be out of cash. As the Eastern papers have as yet had nothing to say of the purse or the match, the only inference is that Mr. Potter and his friends are very secretive about the transcontinental walk, or that Mr. Potter is on a new line for making his way onward at a small expense." A few days later, and again buried in a center column on page 8 of the same paper, is a longer and more descriptive article, "The King of Tramps." And this is where we start to see where Potter was a one-man carny and parallels with current-era digital nomad or content creator. Quote, "He travels at his own expense and has a great desire to get along as cheaply as possible. He remarked in the presence of his host that he was by no means begging, but was willing and glad to accept a meal of victuals from anyone who saw fit to give it to him. His host took the hint. He carries a book with him, in which he asks all the people with whom he stops overnight and many others to write their names and addresses, as well as any remarks they feel like making." And again through the papers we see that Potter's first stop in town was the post office for letters and the newspaper. Then it was to the saloon for drink and food. We don't feel it's too bold to claim that in 1875 Lyman Potter was chasing that dopamine rush of likes, comments, and follows. Only for him the internet hadn't been invented yet. Well, we briefly touched on the physical attributes of the wheelbarrows earlier. Now is a good time to expand on the description from the papers of Potter's. It was as light as possible at the time. Wood box, about 2 feet by 2.5 feet for the majority of his belongings, and a small shelf at the rear for a tin cup, and the aforementioned book weighing about 75 pounds fully laden. It rode on springs to make going over railroad ties easier. Painted blue and red, and it was lettered, "From Albany to San Francisco in 250 days, Sundays out, 215 days, started April 10th, 1878. Very specific. The contents of his wheelbarrow began about as Spartan as our pedestrian. A rubber raincoat, change of underclothes, some medicine for his feet, and some camping gear. A small American flag on a staff adorned the front. By mid-May, reports described the wheelbarrow as being covered in advertisements and business cards. It would seem Mr. Potter had picked up some sponsors.
You know, all the big ones, you know, was it Shopify and
Bob's Toenail Victuals, just snake oil, all the
Squarespace,
different snake oil, all the different snake oils of the time.
AG1.
Yes. As he made his way across the country, the derision in the papers increased. People really didn't like things that were odd back then. Well, they don't
Apparently
like
this isn't too odd, though.
It's odd enough, though. The derision in the papers increased, but not always. Upon arriving in Chicago on the 24th of May, the Inter-Ocean paper, in a departure from the usual adjectives of scraggly and unkempt, had this to say. First, just the title of the article is much friendlier. Potter the Pedestrian. And then this glowing review of his appearance, quote, "He is a slender man with long rippling locks, and impressed one as though he were rather tired of the job, though he says he is very hearty and eats his meals with the greatest of relish." Unquote. I'm sure Potter preferred this over other headlines of the like of "The Wheelbarrow Idiot" that appeared the same day in other newspapers.
So lots of kind and unkind comments in the papers.
Yeah. As he made his way west, Potter would be greeted by civic leaders and town officials. Huge crowds would greet him as he came into towns. Or in at least one instance, huge crowds greeted an imposter who showed up on the edge of town a few hours ahead of Potter. Why would somebody take the time to get their own wheelbarrow out and pretend to be Potter? For a free pint?
Probably.
Seems like it. I mean, look, there were
pat on the
scammers
back.
then too.
Yeah.
There were scammers ripping off your content then too.
Well, they probably thought Potter was getting money out of it whenever he landed somewhere.
Or a free pint. But still the crowd came back out for him. In addition to the advertisements on his wheelbarrow, a tin box contained letters bound from San Francisco by those along the way who paid Potter 25 cents for the privilege of having their mail delivered in the slowest manner possible. Along the way, he would mail home money to support his children, and in a few major cities would stop for a day or two in addition to the Sundays off. At an average of 27 miles a day, he was several days ahead of schedule so that by early June, he took 2 days in Council Bluffs, Iowa. By now, the papers were starting to register concern for the journey further west to the ranges, and pardon our use of historical context terms, Indians and scalping. Though there were no reports of encounters with hostile First Nations people, but rather a frontiersman using his wheelbarrow for a target sport and damaging a spring, as well as hobos demanding tobacco and whiskey, that Potter told no with a pistol, that he did have to deal with between the settled Midwest and the mountains.
See, once again, it was white people were the problem.
Yes. Oh, and cattle, it looks like. And having been chased by cattle a number of times. I've had that happen. It was provoked by a friend, though, so I don't know what he did. Likely resulting in his record 40-mile day. Wow, I can see that just racing along with your wheelbarrow with its placards being chased by angry cattle. Woo! So he went plodding along through Nebraska, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. By August, his name was even in the newspapers of New Zealand and Hawaii.
Impressive.
In a sadly recurring theme, a person sought to stop Potter's trek, ostensibly to preserve a bet while in Nevada, by throwing him a bottle of beer from a passing train. That bottle had been poisoned. Recognizing what happened due to the violent pains in his stomach, Potter ate butter and salt water to induce vomiting.
That induces vomiting thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm churning as we speak. While he did save himself, he was still laid up for several days before being fit enough to continue. By early October, he had crossed the Sierra Mountains and was descending towards Sacramento. After one night, he pushed on to San Francisco, arriving in the suburbs on the 15th of October. But he lingered a while, not officially reaching the finish until the 27th of October, where he entered Woodward's Garden with a police escort and was preceded by a marching band.
Lyman Potter may have begun his 3,995-mile journey nearly in secrecy, but he finished at a venue that spanned 2 city blocks and from 1866 to 1891 was a combination amusement park, museum, art gallery, zoo, and aquarium. Honestly, a dream.
Oh, this place looked amazing.
This
it really
sounds
did.
Fantastic.
Are there photos online that we could add to our Instagram?
There are some photos, yes.
Okay.
Feels like a small scale, World's Fair type deal. I love it.
Keep reading, it gets better.
I know. All right. Woodward's Garden is everything we imagine from a carnival, circus, and sideshow, but in a fixed location, not under canvas and hauled wagons. A conservatory, a museum of natural wonders, amusement rides, a zoological department with exotic animals from across the world, California's Last Grizzly, a pipe organ, roller rink, circus performers, wild events like balloon races, and the list goes on seemingly without end. I think this would be even better if alcohol.
You have to
Just
take that up with the
saying.
Woodwards.
Look, I would.
Apparently the Woodwards were non-drinkers, and they also had a hotel that was also alcohol-free.
At least they didn't ban wheelbarrows.
All right. If that's their thing, I'll respect that. It is not insignificant that this was the western terminus of Potter's journey. For it was here that he was contracted to perform for the next several days by walking in front of the crowd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. to add the required of remaining 90 miles to make 4,085 miles required towards wager. We believe this time spent at Woodward's Garden performing his walk rather than going cross-country over railway tracks and bridges had a strong influence in changing the trajectory of Potter's remaining years.
The race back.
That's race in quote marks.
Yes, yes, yeah. I remember what happened here. Potter had intended to return the way he came, although at a leisurely pace, and cash in on his fame by selling photographs of himself, writing a book, and in general reaping the rewards of walking 4,000 miles. Plans changed, but only slightly, when Leon Pierre Federmeyer, that's interesting, it's like German and French, challenged him to a wheelbarrow race from San Francisco to New York for $1,500. So now there are two wheelbarrow men preparing for a cross-country journey. Federmeyer was a hairdresser and sculpture artist working in the medium of human hair. Let's repeat that. Federmeyer was a hairdresser and sculpture artist working in the medium of human hair. Born in Luxembourg, he had immigrated to Chicago, but when he had begun to suffer an affliction of the eyes, he took up a long distance walking as a profession.
Yeah, so this is the point I became angry with history and had to take a break and just go watch YouTube videos for an hour. I was so annoyed because I'm trying to get through wheelbarrow racing, and I come along, it's like, sculpture artist in human hair. Stop it, history. Stop
You know what I'm
messing
looking
with
up
me.
right now.
Like, I was like, really, I'm trying to wrap this up. This is like the longest episode we've done. I'm like 40 hours of research into this. Like, literally 10 hours of typing into like, sculpture artist in human hair. What? No. So, literally, the guy made art projects out of human hair. Really, here's a newspaper excerpt. He also produced life-size portraits made entirely from human hair. A landscape 6 feet long won a silver medal at the Paris Exposition in 1878. A portrait of President Garfield made of a single hair 30 feet long won a medal at San Francisco in 1880. Like, where do I stop? Every turn of this whole podcast just gets weirder and weirder.
We're going to have to, that'll be like a separate Instagram post or something like that, or we could just do a whole post besides this podcast on the Substack that is just the additional weirdness of the wheelbarrow people. Okay. So we'll jump back. I guess that's enough about, we're done with Federmeyer and his hair sculpting and whatever weird hobbies he had, like mouse training or something like
whatever
that.
it was. We're done with the weird guy from Luxembourg.
We were really trying not to talk about him too much and continue with Potter. I think we're done.
I can't find any pictures of his sculptures.
We will work. If Matt found all of this stuff, there has to be a photograph of the human hair
I need
sculptures.
to see this.
Okay. The two worked out the details of the race, human hair aside, checking in with post offices in towns along their route to get their books stamped, and even traveling together through the mountains in the initial part of the race. For the beginning day would be December 8th, and through the winter, why would they do this in the winter? What
Let's go
nutcase
across the
would...
Sierra Nevada in December. What's a great idea?
It worked so well for the Donner Party, didn't it?
Oh, no.
Oh, if we go as a pair, one of us can eat the other and carry the... Yeah, no. Okay, I'm going to stop. Matt's crying. Okay, for the beginning day would be December 8th, and through the winter they were to be a team. A specific route was even laid out ahead of time with all the towns they were to stop in. Both men had a newspaper sponsorship this time, although Potter could earn additional income due to his fame, while Federmeyer had none yet. Federmeyer had fame. He was a human hair sculptor, internationally renowned.
I can't find any images of his art, and it makes me really upset.
Well, jump on, because it's your turn.
We'll work on that later.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
Why walk when you can have a residency? They stayed together through Reno and to Battle Mountain, Nevada, but separated as Federmeyer moved much faster. By the time Federmeyer had reached Cheyenne, Wyoming, he was 300 miles ahead of Potter and increasing the distance. That's insane. Somewhere in Wyoming, it seems Potter gave up on the idea of winning the race and instead turned the trek into a traveling show. He didn't arrive in Denver for 4 months after departing San Francisco, having taken a detour to Leadville, where he performed for several weeks, one day putting 50 miles on his wheelbarrow in the new Tabor Opera House in Leadville. In Denver, 3 nights were dedicated to racing pedestrian John Oddie. Meanwhile, Federmeyer, still racing, was 650 miles ahead in Topeka.
At least somebody's taking it seriously.
It's the hair artist.
How do you take wheelbarrow racing seriously?
By keeping on track,
If-
obviously.
You can do that because you just have one wheel.
See?
And they followed the railroad tracks.
Yes.
Near the end of June, Potter made it to Lawrence, Kansas, having started gathering an onboard menagerie. A wolf, or more likely a coyote, and a couple of squirrels. In July, Federmeyer reached New York. Potter was 1,000 miles behind, having created a traveling show, entertaining, displaying his wheelbarrow and the items he brought back with him. It was said he had 1,600 curiosities. Among them were tarantulas, centipedes, scorpions, white rattlesnakes, Native American relics, horned toads, and a prairie dog, and of course his live wolf/coyote. His load now weighed more than 200 pounds. His wheelbarrow was in rough shape, and the wheel was tied and wedged to keep it from going into pieces. Woof. It looks like a ball of rope bound with an iron hoop, was one description. That's rough. With absolutely no interest in the race, Potter reached Baltimore in fall of 1880, 2 years after leaving San Francisco. Meanwhile, in New York, during December of 1880, Federmeyer and P. Heck held a 6-day wheelbarrow race. A third contestant was Amy Howard. Unencumbered by a wheelbarrow, she finished second for the prize of besting one of the men was $200 for her. After some time in D.C., Potter returned to Albany, where he rejoined his children and remarried. But late in 1882, he once again went on a wheelbarrow trek, this time headed towards New Orleans. Near Salisbury, North Carolina, a railway engineer spotted a body near the tracks. It seems Potter was done in by a passing freight train. His wheelbarrow and pet both were found nearby. I hadn't read that far ahead.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Potter and Federmeyer were possibly the greatest of the wheelbarrow trekkers, but in 1892 there was another. Hassan Muhammad set out to reach all of the continental U.S. states and territories, covering 10,000 miles in a year and a half, and finding a wife along the way. It is unclear if he succeeded at either. I wasn't able to find any results of his attempt.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know if he accomplished either one.
I have a goal, but we don't know if we'll make it.
Or the papers were just done with wheelbarrow people by then.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just weren't.
Nobody wants to read about those darn wheelbarrow people, those wheelbarrow idiots.
Look, we got really attached to one, and he got hit by a train.
Wheelbarrow
Do you
idiot.
want to keep getting attached to wheelbarrow people and losing them? I don't.
Right.
Well,
We'll have a therapy
we're
session
going to
later.
fast forward a couple of
Thank you.
decades and see if we can't get some hit by cars instead. So
No, I shouldn't laugh at that. What's wrong with me? Sorry, keep on going. I'm getting lightheaded. I'm sorry, folks.
it's a long episode for us. We're almost there, though. In 1931, a 200-mile race was held to commemorate the opening of Highway 26 in Wisconsin. Really, Wisconsin? You again? First you got Milwaukee with wheelbarrows and ice. Now, Cassidy, we got questions. I'm sure you're still listening, so just call us up. We got questions about Wisconsin.
I miss you, Cassidy.
Every time, Wisconsin keeps coming up in just strange ways. You have a giant, fiberglass fish, just Wisconsin. 14 entrants began in Waupun and destined over 10 stages for Eagle River. 10 finished with the fastest in 41 hours and 38 minutes. Meals and rest overnight stretched the race to several days. 2 contestants were hit by automobiles, one suffering a broken kneecap, the other a badly bruised leg from being struck from behind by a car with Illinois plates. Chicago, of course.
Yeah.
Despite the automobile assaults, both of them finished the race. Now for the conclusion. Our story really has no conclusion. It just simmers down to a lower level of bizarreness. See, currently, in modern day times, in a village in Hungary, there's the Wheelbarrow Olympics.
Matt, how do you say that?
Nobody knows how to
Village.
say it. I think we should just avoid it. We'll be cursed.
I want to hear it.
Hasahitini? That's what you're going to get. Hasahitini. The website Top End Sports offers this information. The event involves many wheelbarrow races, either singularly or in teams, for men and women, adults, and children races. Races usually involve pushing the wheelbarrow around a series of cones, in and out, and back course.
Blindfolded.
No mention of blindfolds with this one. It does seem that the use of the wheelbarrow in the performance arts has waned, though. So, to all of our sideshow listeners, if you're looking for a new twist to your act, consider reintroducing the wheelbarrow.
There we go.
No longer do spectators buy tickets to watch pedestrians walk in circles for 6 days, either with or without a wheelbarrow. We don't often bet now on a person walking 1,000 miles in 1,000 hours. And no longer is the wheelbarrow used in long-distance treks. Although pull carts and baby carriages are used today in some ultra-marathon, ultra-running events.
I think they should bring back some sort of requirement for the ultramarathon and ultra running to use wheelbarrows. We can go with like it as a traditional type thing. It'll have to be the iron hooped wheel, the wood.
Has to weigh like 75 pounds.
Yeah, no carbon fiber whatsoever. By the way, you have to wear like leather-soled shoes for this too. None of those namby-pamby sneakers.
A namby-pamby?
Yes.
It's a leather, cotton, and wool, and
all that sort of stuff. So, folks.
unless you have polka dots and a
Yeah,
flower
there we
hat.
go.
polka dot
Yes.
suit.
You can do that.
If you're dressed appropriately,
Pretty
you may wear sneakers. So, you all now know more about wheelbarrow racing than you ever wanted to know. And for some reason or other, if you're listening to this at this point, you've stuck with us.
We're proud of you.
We're-
Go you.
I'm concerned.
Proud, concerned, whatever it is, we really appreciate it because, as always, you could have been doing things like watching paint dry, watching grass grow,
Using a wheelbarrow.
using a wheelbarrow, any of those highly entertaining options.
I have
And
a wheelbarrow.
Do you?
Yes, I use it to clean up after the horse.
This is so full of shit.
my wheelbarrow is full of shit. All right.
I'm sorry.
We'll have to take a photograph of Nicole's wheelbarrow as well. So thank you for listening, and of course, if you have any wheelbarrow stories you would like to share, or other stories that maybe you want to share just to stop us from covering things like wheelbarrow racing, you can drop them to our email, to our Gmail account, merlinsbarn@gmail.com. You can always drop us a note through Instagram as well. We would absolutely love to hear from you. And we are ecstatic that you spent part of your day, evening, morning, whichever, with us. So with that, I bid you adieu.
Toodles.
Good night.
It's a fancy wheelbarrow.
It's a fancy wheelbarrow.
Full of shit.
Take care, all.